Okay, we're getting ready to cut these gears for this hand winch. This is the setup I've got. I've clocked the rotary table in so it's in line with the y-axis. This is the 14 tooth gear. Now I don't have a proper tailstock for this rotary table. So this is one I made for an indexing fixture I made years ago. So simple 2 parallels underneath, 2 adjustable parallel machinist jacks, if you want to call it them. I've got another parallel with an angle meter on it, which I believe is close enough just to align the center of the tailstock in the center of this shaft. Used a dial indicator, so when I do bring the center up to the shaft, I can see if there's any deflection, and I can adjust it with these either way. So I've got it clocked in pretty good. I'm not going to touch it. Everything's locked down. Got a toe clamp over the back over here holding this toe. Got a toe clamp over the back there holding everything down, and that should go back to 0 unless I've just back to 0. That should go back to 0 after a little bit of a screw up. So everything is in a line and I'm pretty happy with that. I can set the cutter up now and set the plates up on the indexing fixture, on the rotary table, sorry. One day I probably will make a dedicated tailstock for the rotary table so there's less screwing around, but it's what I've got to work with, so that's what we'll use. Okay. Gear cutting is something pretty new to me. Now I was put onto this book, I think it was by Andrew Wales over in England. Absolutely brilliant book. Everything you need to know about gear cutting. It's got all the formulas, got everything in it. But what I found, to work out the depth of cut, they've done it for you. So module 2.5 gives you the depth of cut in imperial and metric. So there is a formula you can do, and if you're like me and you're not real good at maths, this book's absolutely gold. There's a lot of great information in this, and yeah, I can't recommend this book highly enough. It's bloody brilliant. Great, yeah, good read, and yeah, good learning. So yeah, whatever you need to know, it's in here. Well, I guess I'll take it out and see if it's any good or not. I've got a funny feeling I did screw one of them up, but I don't know. Take it out and have a good look. Yeah, screwed it up. These teeth are all good. Shit. Must have missed a hole on them too. Oh, better make another one. Rightio, so I've just cut the gear. This is one I cut yesterday and I know I screwed it up. Just find it. There's two smaller teeth here. Now, yesterday I made another blank, start to finish, and I concentrated like buggery this time and made sure I didn't make a mistake. But I come round and I went to just see if it lined up and see how it's starting to take this slight cut again. Now I don't know whether it's something to do with the diameter. I don't know where. I know I haven't made a mistake on this one. Okay, I've got a bit of a story to tell. Got a gear blank in here, as you can see it's got the teeth on it. That's where the story gets interesting. That's the first attempt. Now, if you look closely enough, you'll see these gear teeth look fine. They look fine. These two get real narrow on the tops. And I couldn't work out what I'd done wrong. I thought I must have missed a, must have screwed up on the indexing. It's alright. It's okay, it's the first one. So we'll build a second one. Complete, threaded, the lot. So this one's going really good. Cruising along, thinking life's good. And get around to the end and narrow tooth. Went to index one more, just to, this was the first one I started on. If you can pick it up there, you can see it started digging into the side of it. So I started scratching my head because I concentrated like buggery on, and I knew I didn't miss a step. So that's two out of the way. So I'm thinking, well, I've had to have screwed up somewhere and I just haven't picked it up. So I'll make another one here. Same thing. Get to the end, narrow teeth. And I thought there's definitely something wrong with my setup. There has to be. I'm getting pretty pissed by this stage because the time you make a new shaft, thread it, do all the, go through all the rigmarole. So it got the better of me and I just started from scratch again. You're not going to guess well, you probably have guessed what I've done wrong. The indexing plate, I'm running off plate B, the 77 hole. What I'd done, I'd gone and set it up for the 71 hole circle, like a dip. When I looked at the numbers on there, I'll try and put a shot in here of the numbers. I thought I had it right, but I was a whole row out. So it goes from 71 to 77. So then I cut this one. Once I'd worked that out, this one turned out spot on. Just went in a little bit, spot on. So then I've machined up a whole new shaft, start from scratch, threaded it, done the holders, bowlers, So I've just finished the last tooth. So now I'm going to index this on camera, index this and see if I take a cut. It's going to touch a tiny bit obviously, but and see if I have screwed up again. It's been an ordeal. One, two, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 33 holes on the 77 hole pattern. So here we go. Sounds good so far. I've had a win. Just starting to rub there now. Bloody beauty. We finally had a bloody win. So attempt number 4, not third time lucky, attempt number 4 we nailed it. Man oh man, this hose drove me nuts. Something so simple and I overlooked it 3 times before I got it right. So I don't mind showing my mistakes. Hopefully someone will learn from this. In my opinion, it's a pretty easy mistake to do. So, you know, shit happens. That's what I'm putting it down to. Good learning curve. I know next time I can pull this out now and start celebrating. That's what the bugger should have looked like at the first go. But it didn't. But this one looks good. Finally. I'm just so thankful it wasn't that big gear, the 56 teeth on it. Because that's made out of 3 different pieces, if you remember. All welded together. Imagine trying to make that again. I'm not real keen on the idea. It's time to move on to cut the 56 teeth on this, call it the drum, if you want to call it. It's where the strap actually attaches to. This one here I really don't want to screw up, because if you remember, this was made out of 3 different pieces. All welded together, then machined as a whole. And you would have realised when I was cutting the other gear, the 14 tooth gear, you would have seen run out in this arbor. I think I was just that wound up that I screwed the other one up a few times, that I didn't even bother trying to fix the run out. Well, I did this time. It had a bit of a, I changed nuts, collet nuts. And I found a tiny bit of swarf in the collet, so that was probably what was throwing it out. So it's got about a thou run out now on this shoulder here. Yeah, I'm just spewing I didn't sort of fix it when I was doing the other gear, but anyway, shit happens. There was enough dramas going on with that other gear, let alone this. Yeah, I don't worry about a bit of run out. I'm just going to take me time doing this gear. This is one I do not want to screw up. And believe it or not, I have checked these plates about 20 times to make sure I've got exactly the right holes, exactly the right amount of steps. I've got to have the 28 hole pattern. I've got to have 17, 1 full turn and 17 of 28 holes. I've double checked that, triple checked that, even crossed my balls and checked it. Just to make sure I have it right, because I ain't going to be making this again. If I screw this up, I think that'll be the end of this project. anyway, we've recovered. We're over it. Put our shit in one sock and we'll move on. You can pick it up, you'll see a heap of lines here. I just went around once, just taking a very, very light cut, just to make sure I had everything correct. I think it was a really wise move to go around and put a little scratch mark every tooth. I've been able to double check myself each time because I know all these marks line up with a full revolution. So far so good. Just keep gnawing away at it and I'll bring us back towards the end because it's going to take a fair while. Righto, we'll go around one more tooth and see if everything lines up. I didn't screw that bastard up. Thank God for that. That took 3.5 hours to cut them 56 teeth. There's quite a lot of there's quite a few hours in this part so far and it's still not finished yet. Everything worked out well in the end. There was no mistakes with this one. That's the back side, so I just want to spin it up just to take these burrs off. There we go. Got rid of all the jaw marks when I was in the rotary table. Just got to angle the compound just to cut this angle again. Just to deburr that. Saved me a lot of filing. Well, this build is sort of drawing to a close. And you can see that mark on there. I dropped this friggin' gear. Put a mark on it, dropped it on the bench. Bit pissed off about that. Got to put a flat on here so I can hold the belt. This is a strap that I bought. It's off for a boat winch, fresh off the shores of eBay. Just got to put a flat on here so I can put like a clamp system on it and to retain the belt. That's what I'm going to do now. Just use the fly cutter and come in here and form a flat. Then I can. The reason I got in the rotary table because it was set up for when I was doing the gear cutting and said taking it off and trying to hold this in the vise. Just hold it in here and do it on here. Reason I'm using the fly cutter is I can get right up close to this corner and not be too worried. I just got to remember it is welded in there, so it may be a little bit harder. So anyway, we'll just suck it and see what happens. that's that. Well, as they say, clearance is clearance. Rubbing on that brass, or that copper shim, but not much room there. I got lucky. That worked out way better than what I was expecting. I thought I was going to be a real pain being close, but anyway, we got lucky on that one. So obviously this is going to be to retain the strap. Just rivet it on so it's low profile type of thing. Goes that way around. 3 rivets through the strap, plus this will be clamping it down, and we should be right to go. Off camera, I've gone ahead and drilled and tapped this hole here. It's just to retain the spring. Now I did scratch this side a bit, but it does need another paint, but when I went up the hardware store, they're out of this blue paint, which is not unusual for this town. Also, I went ahead and drilled a 4mm hole for that split pin, or for that cotter pin. I just got to trim that off after, but this is to retain the pin, the spring should I say. Goes on that side, obviously. When this goes on like that, that's how it'll sit. So clip goes on that, and that'll hit up against the ratchet. So I reckon we can really put this thing together. So first of all, there's this washer. Then this brake pad material, then the ratchet wheel, and that goes in there like so, with the handle. Like that. So there has to be another pin put in here, a nut go in here, and another pin to lock the nut in. So I've got to work out how all that works yet, which I don't know how it all works, to be honest. I did also make a couple of washers, big thick washers, one on each side, because this drum was just floating backwards and forwards and looked shit house. So I just packed it out. Goes in there. And then this here, assembly. Jiggling around. I've got it in the right sequence now, I think. Wash tight. Like that. and get my fiddly fingers in there and try and put that circlip and that on the ratchet pull, which is probably going to be a bit of a challenge. So I might do that off camera because there might be a bit of swearing. Well, I got that in finally. It's actually a real pain in the ass. See that ratchet pull in there and the circlip and the way the spring and everything's set up. Yeah, it was a bit of a mission. That bolt there can be nipped up now. That nut. This nut here has to have a pin through it, but I can't work out what the go is. What I believe the go is there's a brake material here. So you're winding the winch in, winch getting wrapped around. When you want to back it off, you let this go, which will then let it spin free to the ratchet. And as soon as you start winding again, tightens back up on that brake material, lets you wind back in. So this has just got to have a little bit of, it's got to have a tiny bit of play, and then pinned, and then when you undo it, you can, it's got to be able to undo just a fraction is what I'm trying to say. But basically that is that in a nutshell, bar the handle. Oh, man. Probably not the best of camera angles, you guys, but that's the way it is. And that's free spool there. So the theory behind this clutch system is you don't have to put your hands in there to let the ratchet go. It's basically what I can figure out. So you're not trying to put your finger in here, trying to let that ratchet go and get your finger caught. So you're winching your whatever you want in. As soon as you want to back it off, you just got to let the handle go a fraction, and then have free spools. Comes on the clutch. That's where this has got to be pinned so it can't unwind itself, which is a good idea. Oh yeah, I've got that sorted. What I ended up doing, put a light on to show here. I didn't have another roll pin, so what I'd done was just drilled it and put a set screw in there. So do up, and you can see the ratchet's not moving. See it there? As soon as it gets a bit of tension on it, the handle will nip up, engage that clutch, be able to winch up. So the tighter, the more force there is on the winch, the tighter that clutch will work. When you want to back off, just give it a nip, a bit of a flick back, and it'll disengage the clutch, and it'll free spool. And obviously that'll wear in. So I think a better idea than putting a set screw, a roll pin, is you can adjust this up too later on. Anyway, that's that. There is a little bit of brass under that too, so it's not going to damage your thread, so don't stress out there. just like that. See that there? There we have it. One winch done. It's been a bit of a build, hasn't it? It's been a very interesting build. That shaft was very interesting with the gears on it. The amount of trouble I got from that. And this big gear here, and this whole hub, I'm really happy with the way that turned out. That's bloody fantastic. Well, that's this build finished, over and done with. It's been quite the ordeal. A lot of learning in this one. There was a lot of learning, like doing the ratchet wheel and the gears. That was this little gear that drove me around the bend until I worked out what I'd done wrong. The big gear made out of that hub made out of 3 pieces. That was a big mission, but it worked out really good in the end. Overall, it has been a good build, a good learning curve, and a massive thanks to Aaron for kicking me along on this one and making the handle, the ratchet pull, and a couple other bits and pieces. But yeah, thank you very much, mate. I really appreciate that. So this build's done. When I do get some paint, and I think I'm going to have to somehow do some rust prevention on these unpainted bits. I don't know, I don't really like the look of coal blue. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know, I haven't decided yet. For now, I'll just get a bit of CRC until I work out how I can stop it going rusty. And but I don't like that dark look of the coal bluing, so don't know what I'm going to do. Got any ideas? Throw them in the comments. Anyway, that's this mission done. Sorry that went over so many videos and it's a bit scattered, but it's the way it is. Either way, it was a good build. I enjoyed it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. All right.